Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of A Point of Disorder. I'm your host, Norris Howard, for today, and we have a ton of stuff to talk about, and I'm sure you want to know everything that's going on with the war we are unfortunately in. But first, we got to introduce you to the crew. To my left, we start with...
Hey everyone, Gina's back. Get used to it.
And Julie's still here.
That's right. You can follow us on all of our social medias. That's on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube and Facebook. And you can search at Point of Disorder or at Distill Social. Now, we do have to start, unfortunately, with the war in Iran. We're not going to relitigate the sort of, X's and O's of it because there are some strong Michigan connections to everything that's happening in Iran. And we want to start first with the fact that both of our senators seem to be totally okay with funding an illegal war. Thoughts, everyone?
Fiscally pissed off, Julie.
Oh, shit. I've got so much to talk about with that. But anyway, not right now. But yeah, I am. Well, I think I'm fiscally pissed off, but I'm also fucking, we're talking here about Alyssa Slotkin and Gary Peters. Yeah. And there was an article that came out just recently in Politico basically saying, look, we're already in the war, so we may as well keep funding it. That was kind of like a summary of the messaging there. And I go back to what we talk about each and every week. You don't have to fucking lay down so easily, and particularly on something that's so unpopular. I mean, has anyone, all these people, the Beltway is always so interested in polls. Has anyone looked at the fucking polls lately about this war and how popular it is?
They only look at polls when they get their confirmation bias, apparently.
Well, but I mean, for the Democrats, I mean, this should be a slam dunk, right? I mean, those on the left and more liberal do not support this war. I mean, hands down. I think
most people on the right don't support this war.
Yeah, exactly.
You got Megyn Kelly running around fucking sprouting all over about it, and there's no...
all the right-wing creators. I mean, Nick Fuentes has spoke out against it, and, he did a collaboration. Not that we give a shit. Not that we care, but to the point is like when him and the InfoWars dude, Alex Jones, when they're sitting there having a round table about how crappy the decision to go to war with Iran is, like, it's very unpopular.
You brought up polls, right? As this war trudges on, Trump's approval rating will hit new lows. But what we're not seeing is Democratic approval rating raising. And why is that? We're so fucking out of touch with everything, with the people, with where the voters are. I mean, it's very clear Michiganders, people in general, citizens of this country do not approve of wasting $1 billion a day or more on this war when, half of us can't make ends meet. So it's just like, we want to see leadership, and we haven't been, particularly on this war thing. Hakeem Jeffries is, like a fucking wet noodle right now with his leadership. It couldn't be more flaccid. Like, no funding to illegal Iran war. Well, then you fucking roll over the next minute. Like,
send them a harshly worded letter.
God.
It's really sad.
At this point, I saw a really funny TikTok video the other day, guys, and I'm gonna reiterate her point. Like, I feel like the Democrats, we're not seeing strength in our leadership. Our leaders aren't getting us what we want. We're getting strongly worded letters. We're getting photos with baseball bats. And this girl is like, you know what I want to see? I want to see fucking Schumer open carrying on the floor at this point and just whipping out a pistol. And being like, you know what? We've had it.
Absolutely. I mean, literally, it's not just what they're spending on more. It's like what's going to happen and what's happening right now with the cost of gas. The impact that this is happening on everyone's pocketbook, and we are so close to an election. You got to think, what the fuck? Like, this would be a slam dunk if Democrats said, "Nah, we're not going to, not 1 cent." It would be a slam
absolutely.
dunk.
I mean, they have, for the most part, I think, held strong on DHS funding, which has been something that I didn't think that they would hold out this long for, to be honest with you. And so it can be done. There is a will for them to show some sort of unified front. We've seen it before, but it just feels like when it comes to the, global war industrial complex, that it's all in or nothing. And that's really frustrating. And for me, it's doubly frustrating to see that gas prices is the thing that makes everybody all of a sudden pay attention to this. Because during that first week, everybody was like, well, Iran kind of sucks. So, if we kind of deal with them, and it's not the end of the world. And then all of a sudden gas is $5 a gallon again. And now everybody's like, oh my God, worst political decision ever. It doesn't rock with me. I'm sorry.
I've got some thoughts about what it feels like right now. We are 6 years on from the pandemic. It's pretty much to the day that we, obviously all discovered in 2020 that COVID was about to run over all of us. But if you think about it, it feels very much like we're in 2020 again, where Trump basically was running around saying, look, COVID will be all gone by Easter. You'll all be able to go to church and all that sort of stuff. Like basically he was bullshitting and gaslighting us all. Same thing here. The war will be over in 6 days. We'll get in, we'll get out. Like it feels very much like we're going sort of head first into a really fucking bad phase. And I have to sort of end this by saying it feels like everything that Trump does ends in a fucking body count. The body count of COVID, there's a body count.
Unpaid bill.
And an unpaid bill, exactly. There's a body count now, obviously in the Middle East, but those small girls.
Oh man, I can't even go there on the
It's
the
like
girls' school.
the fucking. It's stunning to me. But anyway.
Yeah, and Gina, you brought something up that I think is really poignant, particularly here in Michigan, which is a new poll came out that said Trump's approval rating is -18 in Michigan. Now, he carried Michigan moving forward in this war, and the gas prices and everything around it continues to sort of make his approval rating plummet in the state. And yet we're not necessarily seeing strongly worded opposition even here in the state. I mean, the State of the State was a couple weeks ago and Gretchen Whitmer was thanking the president. We just heard that he's going to be writing some funding to help people from the ice storms last year. There's still the Selfridge Air Base stuff, but the people don't like this. And so how do we reconcile those two energies? Like, how do we get the people and the politicians to be saying the same stuff?
So I feel like there's some vague posting going on, talking about like this is Michigan sort of electeds are basically playing very coy about saying this is an illegal and an immoral war. But what they're saying and what they're doing seem to be quite different. And I suppose that's a part that pisses me off about it all. But
I mean, for me, this all goes back to us, like people not wanting to discuss Iran days before the war broke out.
Why
didn't they want to discuss it? Well, because they knew it was going to happen, and they knew that, House Democrats and Senate Democrats weren't going to stand in the way. Yeah, so if you guys remember back in D.C. when we were visiting for the State of the Union, we were kind of given like briefs, like bullet points on, okay, this is an issue, this is an issue, this is an issue, and most of it was economic or SAVE Act related. There was nothing really that they were trying to get us to create content about the war in Iran. And I think a big part of that is because, okay, if you like put the timeline out there, the State of the Union address was just like 3 days before we bombed Iran. Everyone knew it was happening, okay? All of the signs pointed this way. Diplomacy wasn't working. There were already skirmishes happening. This was happening. Everybody knew it, and we would speak to congresspeople or senators. And despite the fact that we weren't really given any briefs on what to discuss with them about it, because clearly we were being discouraged from bringing up the topic, nobody really had any clear messaging on it, right? We did ask a few members, and it was like, well, we'll come to that when we cross that bridge. Nobody had a firm statement on it, and this is because everybody knew at the time Trump was getting into this war without congressional approval. There was really nothing anyone could do about it, And once that genie is out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. So now our centrist Democrats are just, they're going to fund the war. It's going to keep on happening.
With that very same excuse. Well, it's already started.
Yeah.
So we have to keep going.
Right now, we have to support the troops that are already there. We can't back out of the campaign now that it started. So I understand not wanting to leave like our troops in the lurch, or like, hey, now we've started this, we can't walk away, like militarily. But it's just like, we're definitely not doing everything that we could be doing through diplomacy, and it's costing American lives.
Yep. And it's all because we have Drunky McDrunkface running the Department
Cunty
of War.
McCunkface?
Oh, there's Drunky McDrunkface.
I'm sorry, I stole that one.
Oh my God, you stole my Cunty McCuntface. So I promised that I would say Cunty McCuntface for my friend Ivan. Yes, no, that's Christy Nome, but that's a different topic.
Okay.
Hey, should we talk about Lady G for a minute?
Yes, please. No, okay. I want to back this up because Julie and I actually have met Lady G. We had like a beautiful 5-minute conversation, a very beautiful, a bigly and beautiful conversation with Lady G in Grosse Pointe at a war memorial. And he was doing the whole war hawk like tour.
He's a total war hawk. We need to just let people. This is Lindsey Graham we're talking about. In case you haven't ever heard about Lady G.
Who has no kids, by the way.
No kids.
This is a big deal when we're talking about a guy who wants to send people's babies to war.
Correct. Exactly. So back to Lady G.
Yeah. So we met him at this war hawk conference. And he hasn't seen a military fight in the Holy Land. He hasn't wanted to get into. He's just been ridiculous. He's literally going live on television telling people like, we're gonna bomb the fuck out of Iran. It's gonna be great, and fucking Jesus will love us for it.
So I have to read, basically he was on Fox News. This is just a couple of days ago for those that missed it. Basically he says, I'm going back to South Carolina, which he's obviously from there, and asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast.
I go back to South Carolina, I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast.
What the fuck are you talking about? Norris, this goes down to the fact, he doesn't have kids.
Yeah,
but he's okay with sending other people's kids.
Yeah, and he's...
Side note, he's received over $4.5 million from AIPAC.
Listen, and he tripled down on it, too, during that same interview where he said verbatim, like, when it comes down to it, I am not with you, I am with Israel. And I'm sorry, y'all, if we're going to have politicians to verbally, out loud, unequivocally tell you that they are openly, 100% more for the well-being of another country before American lives.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they should not be in charge of anything. I don't care what country it is.
It just makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
He, the exact quote is, I'm not with you, I'm with Israel until my dying day.
How is this person in charge of anything here? Right.
He said this live on Fox News.
Take Israel out and put any other country
That's
there.
right.
And that is grounds for impeachment. It's shocking to me because, like I said, if you were to take that and put any other country, if you were to say, I am not with you, I am with Zimbabwe till my dying day, people would be like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And you know what? The only countries that are fucking laughing over all of this are China and Russia. They're two
making
countries
out like bandits.
As a matter of fact, China just opened up trade to all of Africa tariff-free.
And they'd laid the path for that over many, many years. This isn't something that's just jumped out. They've been strategically doing that for years and years
Julie,
and years.
me and you talk about China's dealings in
Yes.
Africa quite a bit, and I think people don't really understand how big of a deal that is when it comes to the future of what the global economy is going to be.
And they've also protected themselves by investing so much in renewable energy that a lot of this shit in terms of oil and gas is just not going to have as much of an impact on them as what it does the rest of us.
Last thing on Lady G, because
Please.
I'm like, okay, are you really like this? Is this real? Or what, are you afraid of, the gay sex tapes getting out? I don't understand. But I have to say, a creator ran into Graham in the wild and asked him this.
It Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore?
Gold. Give that man a beer.
It's
I'm just saying, that's
2026.
fucking
Like, for real.
awesome.
Like, we should be beyond this.
Nobody gives a
Nobody
fuck.
cares.
Everyone
Yes.
thinks you're gay and nobody gives a fuck.
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
They're
It's
But
like such a non-issue.
There are full like fucking like videos. There are full like there are people that just spend their entire time taking the piss out of him. It's
Lady
like a thing.
Lady G, stop being a slut for Israel.
Exactly.
seriously.
Can I talk about my fiscally pissed offedness?
Please
at the
do.
moment?
This is one of my favorite parts.
Okay. So I spent my fucking entire weekend doing my taxes. Number one, that really gets me fiscally pissed off. But I got extra fiscally pissed off when I find out that these pricks are spending my tax-paying dollars, and I'm looking at you, Secretary Jägermeister in the Department of War, you fucking cunt. Anyway,
Jägermeister.
I find out...
Wayback Machine. I don't think they make that anymore,
Do
Julie.
they?
I'm sure you could get a bottle
Sounds
somewhere.
good though,
I can
right?
taste it. Anytime somebody says the word Jägermeister, I can just taste it welling up in the back of my throat. It's gross.
We could also call him like a keg's breath or something
Yeah,
like that.
something.
Yeah. Anyway, to find out that the money that's being spent in terms of the Department of War included $2 million on Alaskan king crab.
For fuck's sake.
Doesn't stop here.
Crab legs.
Crab legs. Alaskan king crab. $6.9 million on lobster tail. $100,000 on a Steinway grand piano for the Air Force Chief of Staff's home. $5 million.
He can't buy his own fucking piano?
He's probably not. He's probably paid minimum wage, Gina. $5 million on Apple devices. So basically, this all came out. This is from their last budget, and apparently they get to the end of the year, and they have to just spend money on shit. And this $2 million on Alaskan king crab, $6.9 million on lobster
we know
tail.
Trump only eats McDonald's. Who's eating this? Is that like Kristi Noem
So-
and Corey Lewandowski, like date night
Oh, maybe
stuff?
on their flying fuck plane.
Yeah. On the giant Diddy plane with the private bedroom inside of it.
That's another reason I'm fiscally pissed off. We paid for that as well.
We did.
Like,
we
do we
did.
all get a ride in it? Although we've already had that conversation.
She
no
also
one wants to go
she
in
bought
it.
a fleet of cars, like thousands of cars.
Yeah.
And they wrap the cars with
yeah.
like all this ice stuff, and they're just like we know they can't drive them around. They're just sitting,
'Cause they're
brand
big
new
targets.
cars. Yeah, they're brand new like thousands of brand new vehicles. My God, I thought this administration was combating fraud, waste, and abuse. Did they get the memo wrong and they're now committing fraud, waste, and abuse?
I'm just saying, when you sit down to do your taxes and you realize this is where the fuck it's so much of it is being pissed up against the wall, it is just, it's horrific.
Yeah,
It's
I
absolutely
mean,
horrific.
first of all, I didn't know it was that much Alaskan king crab in the world
No,
to
neither
spend
did I.
$2 million on it in a matter of months. That's crazy.
Almost $7 million on lobster tail.
That's
what the
insane.
fuck?
That's
I mean, what about the
insane.
rest of the poor lobster? Seems like a
That-
bit of a
that
waste
is
just to eat his
insane.
tail.
My husband and I had a little thing with our taxes because I'm like, let's just get an extension this year. I don't want to buy bombs.
You do want to fund this shit?
No. And, he gets wrapped so tight. He's like, no, I actually already did them. We got to
Do
get
the
them
right
in.
thing.
Yeah, like I cannot deviate from societal norm.
I've got a couple buddies of mine who definitely said, like, I really don't want to pay taxes this year. Like, I'll pay state and local, but like them federal taxes, they gonna get them late. And I don't blame people. There's a lot of people
I think
really upset right now.
Everyone should just file for an extension.
Yeah,
And
just
see
muck
what
up the
happens.
system and see what happens.
But like speaking of taxes, okay, so there's this little issue going on in Rochester community schools, and it culminated in Congressman John James showing up at their school board meeting and going on this like bizarre diatribe that made no sense. But the whole the crux of the thing is that the RSC, Rochester Community Schools, is doing like a millage, which is like a way to slightly increase taxes for a specific period of time to help fund the public school. This is something that is completely normal. All school boards have them at some point in time. Like, I know my local community just recently passed like its second millage. It shouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, John James decided to
Lord.
take this time to, first of all, he doesn't want the school in his own district funded. So he's against sending taxpayer money to fund this public school. But he shows up, he speaks for 3 minutes. It's all culture war bullshit. He talks about how he's there to, stand up for this one school board rep who's being bullied. No, she's not. This woman's a complete asshole, too. Everything she says is a lie, and she's totally unhinged. And then he starts talking about trans kids out of nowhere. He mentions twice that he's running for governor. He briefly talks about how he flew a helicopter. Like, he's fucking all over the map. It is so bad.
So we should remind everybody that pretty much every school board have these open school board meetings.
Yes.
Yeah. And anyone is able to go to them. Gina, you and I have had the pleasure of going to many over the years, particularly when the Mums for Liberty shit was all going on back in 2022, I think. Any rate, we've done a lot of them. What happens is anyone can go and anyone can take that 3 minutes.
You sign up,
yep.
and then they get a list. At some point, somebody calls your name. Well, James was saying that, first of all, he claimed that there was no Pledge of Allegiance said, which is incorrect. People who were there have told us.
Oh, so he's come out and basically said, I went to this, and this is
Yeah,
what happened.
he went late. He showed up just in time to give his comment and then left. He wasn't even there for the whole meeting. So, yes, they did say the Pledge of Allegiance. And then he said he was censored. You were not. They called your name, said, hey, Congressman James, it's your turn. He came down to the microphone and gave his public comment.
For
like,
3
there
minutes.
was no censoring.
There's a video of this, by the way.
Yeah, you can watch the
like
whole
you
thing.
could go and watch the whole thing. It's all public access. There was no censoring of John James.
So I have a theory, which I'd like to get your feedback on.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps this is John James's plan for his campaign. He's going to go to every school board meeting around the state and get his 3 minutes of free advertising at each one. Do you think he might do that?
That's a good call because he's not showing up to town halls.
Nope.
He's not showing up to debates.
Yeah.
He wasn't at his office when we went.
No, we've been to his office so many times. You only ever catch him if you know exactly where he's going to be and when he's going to be there, which we do sometimes, but rarely.
His own party is mad at him for not going to any of the gubernatorial debates, the primary debates.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really...
Dude's not popular.
It's fucking weird, but if this is John James' version of leadership, showing up, causing trouble at a public school board meeting, this is just grievance politics and performative chaos. It's infected too much of our government. We don't want any of it. That's a no for you, John James.
But what I would say is to all of our distillers out there, maybe go along to your next school board meeting and just see if he turns up and pop your camera
Actually,
on
that's a
and
great one.
say-
Yeah, if you're at your local school board meeting and you make a John James sighting, let us know so
Yeah.
we can share that out. Because if this is his strategy, we'll see if it pans out. But I'm not quite sure it'll be effective. Another thing I want to bring up, which is very funny to me personally, is that apparently, according to a new poll that's come out, John James polls exactly 0% with black voters
What the fuck?
in the state of Michigan.
Do you think it's because he tries to convince everybody that the most fucking racist man on the planet, Donald Trump, is not racist?
That's a strong part of it, yes. That's and after this came out, I went and asked some of my other, black political type friends, and I was like, you know what? I expect there at least to be one or two who just are Republicans and they support any Republican that's in the mix. And they were just like, no, they don't like him. They think he's weird, and they actually think he's quite spineless. Like, that's the word I heard. It's like he comes off as spineless.
He is. I read his tweet. He's a prolific tweeter, and he cannot get his head any further up Trump's ass. It's as far in as it'll go. I mean, particularly when the Trump administration and the White House, verified accounts, and Trump himself are all posting like racist memes of the Obamas, and then you have James, right? I know Trump, he's not racist. That wasn't racist. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's bad when like Tim Scott had the moral high ground on
know.
you. When it was like Tim Scott was the guy who was just like, yeah, bro, that was racist. Take it down. And John James was like, no, that's my boy. He's cool. Anyway, but as far as black voters in Michigan, he's gonna have a tough time carrying them in this upcoming governor's election.
I remember in previous elections, because this guy has run, I feel like the last 10 years, he's almost run in every election for something or another, right? And he always puts out a shit ton of, no matter where he's running and what he's doing, a shit ton of signs and huge signs out in Pontiac. It's really interesting. I've always been interested in his kind of like focus on where he really does try to go for the black communities, but he just he's so awkward.
Well,
but he's awkward to meet as well, isn't he, Gina?
He is socially awkward. He's like,
it's very
feels
stiff.
like he doesn't know how to fit in his own skin.
Oh, he could be in an Edgar suit. Is he like a reptilian kind of guy?
He might be.
Yeah. Could be.
Could be.
He does have a weirdness about him that's hard to
We included a couple videos of him in the Substack we sent out today. So have a look, guys. Read the Substack and check out some of our accountability work on John James, who should be staying the fuck out of schools because he's protecting a pedophile, but we'll move on because speaking of schools, have you all heard this shit?
Yeah, so apparently
Erika Kirk will be giving the Hillsdale College commencement address this year. Now, why, you ask? Well, we've got to unpack. If you don't know what Hillsdale College is, we need to break that down for you. But here's the long and short of it. Hillsdale College is part of this far-right think tank apparatus that churns out far-right policy. They were one of the authors, along with Heritage Foundation, of Project 2025. They are behind a lot of the plans to dismantle the Department of Education. They're behind a lot of the plans to cut health care and social services. They also have like a very long-standing habit of treating like far-right figures like intellectual giants. Like we know Charlie Kirk has spoken at Hillsdale College. He's just a fucking dead racist podcaster, nothing more, nothing less. He's actually a college dropout. He was supposed to be giving the commencement address, and now that he's dead, he can't. So they called in good old Erika,
So just
who hasn't met a stage and a microphone she doesn't like.
No, she's loving all this. I mean, can you imagine like losing your husband and just it blows my mind as to her day to day and what it looks like. Anyway, she's keeping herself busy is the best I can say, I suppose. But just to remind everybody that Hillsdale College is here in Michigan, and it is a small Christian liberal arts college. It also has a very strong relationship with the Trump presidency still. So I know that it's doing a whole lot of like videos to celebrate and commemorate the 250th anniversary of America. And there's some controversy around what they're including. And can you imagine they're not including the exact history of America? Let's
of course
just
not.
Put it that way.
Of course
they're doing
not.
a bit of a cleanup on aisle 3.
We'll probably ignore slavery.
Completely.
You've pretty much just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
So it's 14 videos to
Yeah.
tell everybody how lucky they are.
Yeah, Civil War was about states' rights.
That's it.
You know, that whole thing.
And we were so kind to the indigenous population when we arrived.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone got a free
Civilize the
car.
American West. They'll say stuff like that. My issue here is not necessarily with Erika Kirk giving the commencement speech in and of itself, because we know what Hillsdale is. But my issue more so is the fact that she's not a good speaker. So I don't understand how good of a commencement speech this will be. I mean, there wasn't nobody else in the conservative ranks they could pull out. You know, I mean, they could have got Lady G to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And also we're in Michigan. It just feels like weird. I know I did read up on some stuff where they're actually trying to expand.
Yeah.
Hillsdale have bought property in northern California. So they're trying to expand kind of, to go national.
The rot is spreading. So like the Hillsdale, like you said, is very tied to the Trump administration. The president of Hillsdale College has been appointed to Trump's 1776 commission, which is what you were getting at, Norris, where they're just whitewashing history entirely.
So also, funny story, one of our favorite hosts of one of America's most well-known game shows, Pat Sajak, is on the board of Hillsdale College, if you didn't know
president.
President of the board of Hillsdale College. So, yeah. Teaching us how to spell since the mid-1970s and also trying to take away rights for women.
I think we need to talk to him because the spelling's not great.
Yeah,
there, and you're.
I feel bad for the women who are graduating Well, obviously, if they're going there, they don't give a shit about women's rights or feminism or
Well, I mean, they
human rights.
They'll be going
in
there
general.
to learn that whatever they're learning is not required because they need to become a trad wife.
They just need to
They're
be
going
wives,
there
yeah.
to meet their trad husband.
Yeah.
This is
So fucking
that's
weird.
I mean, imagine paying this much fucking money to just find out that I need to go home and just be a breeder for the next.
No, because it's access.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, these people's parents, these women's parents are paying for access to get them to the boys who eventually will
Have they
become
ever-
senators.
What about Tinder, peeps? What are
Nobody's
we doing?
becoming a senator out of Hillsdale College. Tell your girls, get educated, go to the Ivies, get a good job. Move
mean,
the
you
fuck
Listen,
on.
Mark Wayne Mullen is the head of DHS, and that man has multiple closed head injuries. And
He's from Oklahoma, though.
yeah, I'm just saying,
I'm
if he
just
can
saying,
do it,
what?
if he can do it, anyone can do it.
Lord.
He's a competitor with.
But also, his father was a multimillionaire. That is why Mark Wayne is where he is.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's probably a couple
because if he grew
multimillionaire
up
kids.
on,
Poor.
food stamps.
Yeah.
No, it's Game 7. He's not doing it. Yeah. But I get your point. I just think that's the calculus with a place like Hillsdale College, I suppose.
At any rate, it's kind of scary, and they do bus kids all over. By the way, so if
Yeah.
you ever go to something, you'll see
Oh,
Hillsdale.
they were
busing.
busing people to January 6th.
Correct, yeah.
They've bussed people to the anti-choice the big
Yeah.
right to life protests. Both in Michigan at our state capitol and in DC.
Yeah.
They're just total assholes. Whenever they get a chance, they take it.
One of Gina and I have this pet hate. In 2022, we worked so hard on the Reproductive Freedom for All ballot petition, and it was, a huge struggle, and we're very grateful that we got it across the line. But I think what it's done is it's made people feel overly confident and comfortable with where we are in terms of reproductive rights here in Michigan. There is okay, we've done that, we can move on. Now, I just need to repeat that we need to keep really vigilant around access to women's health care. The one thing that I found out in the past week is that Planned Parenthood are no longer seeing patients in Michigan that are more than 19.6 weeks pregnant. Now, that becomes quite difficult because we don't have a lot of independent providers in Michigan.
No, but I want to point out, at that point in time, that's when women are having genetic testing done.
Correct.
That's when you find out if there really is any severe, fetal abnormalities. It's too soon to tell any of that much before.
That's exactly right, Gina. And as we were talking about in 2022 ad nauseum to everybody, is that that's the point. People making a decision to have an abortion, and I've had an abortion. I know Gina has as well, not to out her, but I think we've already spoken about it
I've
many
talked about
times.
it.
Yeah. You're not having an abortion at 19.6 weeks for shits and giggles. It's not that, oh shit, I'm drunk.
Can't afford this.
Yeah. Or I'm missing my alcohol. I'd like to have a gin and tonic.
It's
Let's
because
get
something
rid of
is
this.
wrong and your life could be in
Exactly.
danger.
It's usually for really, really big issues, or it's for really young people that don't realize that they're pregnant. So, teenagers that kind of don't even realize that they're pregnant until much later on.
Yeah.
So I think this is incredibly stressful. So there's only 2 clinics, or there's actually multiple clinics, but there's Northland Family Planning, who are friends of ours. They have 3 clinics over the state, and 1 other clinic in Michigan that are now offering abortions and abortion care for people that are over 19.6 weeks. So what I want to say to that is I know it's very trendy and it's great that people support Planned Parenthood, but please don't forget to support the local independent providers that are actually, because if you can imagine at that point, they're the most complicated abortions. Like it's the most complicated
This
abortion
is where
care.
you find out the fetus you're carrying might not be compatible with life outside the womb.
Or your life is
Right.
at stake. So these are really complicated. And Reclaim, which is a part of Northland or sits beside Northland Family Planning, they raise money to basically help support people that are seeking abortion care.
It's a really great nonprofit, another nonprofit that's really been harmed by Trump administration policies for funding and for, access issues as well.
Absolutely. So just a reminder that abortion care is still difficult here in Michigan for lots of people. So please, please, please support our local independent providers.
This is also like another reason why people who keep telling me, why won't you guys talk about Chris Swanson? Well, let me just say, fuck that guy, okay? No, we're not going to be talking about Chris Swanson. I just want to say RFFA, Reproductive Freedom for All, ACLU Michigan, and others have all put out a joint statement saying, this man has come out as being anti-choice. He signed the anti-choice ballot initiative years ago. We don't feel comfortable with him. And let me tell you, when the red flags go up, ladies, fucking listen to them. Now he is saying, well, for me personally, I would choose not to have an abortion, but I am not going to tell any woman what to do with her body. Great. Fucking fantastic, Swanson. I don't give a shit. You're anti-choice. You're anti-choice. It's a non-starter for us. And another thing I want to say is that Northland Family Planning and the independent clinics do far more of the Michigan abortions than Planned Parenthood does. In general, we're not talking about certain trimesters or anything like that. Just in general, the independent providers help Michigan women get their reproductive care more than Planned Parenthood. So if abortion really is something that you want to help women get access to, you should be donating to the independent clinics.
Absolutely. And we will leave a link to Reclaim in the show notes.
Yep.
So please go and donate to them. And of course to Distill Social so that we can keep the trains running as well.
Planned Parenthood has been focusing on other things that are very needed, like gender affirming care, but for reproductive rights in Michigan, it's the independent providers who are really carrying the flag.
Yep. And Julie, can we get the name of those clinics one more time?
So it's Northland Family Planning, and there are several clinics in Michigan, and they're not-for-profit arm that basically helps fund people that can't afford to either get to their appointment or stay or whatever it might be. That's reclaimproject.org is the website. So please support that.
Thank you so much. And I think on that tidbit, we're going to end today's show. Don't forget to follow us once more on all of our social medias, at Distill Social and at Point of Disorder on all your major social media platforms. Gina.
I also want to tell everybody, if you haven't watched For the Sake of the Argument with Lori Goldman or listened to that podcast, and you're interested in learning more about all of the candidates running for fucking everything this year, go tune into For the Sake of the Argument. Lori Goldman, our friend of the pod, is interviewing everybody from Jocelyn Benson to,
Mallory
McMurrow, Abdul El Sayed, Donovan McKinney, Kyle Bloomquist, everybody. So
people are coming from all over the state.
Yeah,
it's
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to get your leftist flex on, go check out our friends Head of the Office.
Yeah, they're doing all right over there too.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I have on my playlist right now.
Me too. The kids are all right.
All right, guys, we will be back next week. Julie will be abroad. Trace, I'm getting my hair cut. Don't worry. and colored too. So you'll see me and Norris and Adrian next week.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.